America. And we say, here is the people of Venezuela, united, standing, victorious. They haven't been able to defeat us, and they will never be able to defeat us. This sovereign, rebellious country, because we are courageous before any difficulty. And if we are threatened, we will be even more courageous. I congratulate you, because I have witnessed the agreements that we have reached on July 18th have been implemented, fully implemented. And when things and the word given is fulfilled, people need to be congratulated. We need to congratulate all the countrymen and women and their leaders. Farmers. They developed 15,407 assemblies on farmers' communes or councils. I watched some of those, and I got some of their proposals, their ideas. Out of those over 15,000 assemblies, you, on direct vote, chose over 46,000 speakers. And here we are, gathered, all of the chosen spokespersons for the agriculture sector in this beautiful mountain, which overlook the Aragua Valley and beyond. But on the other side, they are also watching the sovereignty and the peace of our Caribbean Sea, with these mountains that come together on the east, on a Repano mountain range, and they reach the easternmost part of the country. And to the west, they join the Falconian mountain range, and all of the mountains of the Andes who get to Peru, where once we already reached that area on foot with rifles and machetes. It is a beautiful country. We are on the north of South America. It's an Indian nation, Caribbean nation, facing the Caribbean, our Caribbean, rebellious and free, facing the Atlantic Ocean. And to the south we have the Amazon, with the huge Guyana, which is populated by special people, for they are very hard-working people, which is the average in the Venezuelan people. It's people that has inherited the spirit of the Huaycaipuro Indian chief, heir of the liberating army of all liberators and this continent. So especially we're the legitimate and direct heirs of the glories of the great general of the sovereign people, Ezquivel Zamora, knife face, our historical leader, who was able to bring together the movement of peasants at his time and build up an army, a popular army an army of men and of free men and women who defeated the army of the oligarchy, which had betrayed the liberator Simon Bolivar to the benefit of the English and German empires. Honor and glory to Ezquivel Zamora. Long live Ezquivel Zamora. That's one of the three pillars of the EVR system, which is the ideological original system. Here we have the blue book. A necessary book to study because it is the foundational book of our project. It's the book that contains all the ideas of the original project of Bolivar and Zamora. And it points to the ideological system that moves our country, our revolutionary project, and which should move the peasants' movement being born here today, the EVR system. E for Ezquivel Zamora. And for lands and free land and women, popular election and horror to oligarchy, said Zamora. Today we could say land, men and women and people, free land, men and women and people. Ain't that a wonderful concept? I want to say hello to our agriculture minister, Julio Cesar León Heredia, Bolivarian captain, and to another minister, Angel Comuna Prado, food minister, and to all the teamwork. I want to say hello to my wife, Celia Flores, a peasant from Tinaquillo, born in Cojedes. First combatant of our homeland. So take note of this concept. Zamora was the first socialist in our history. His brother-in-law came from the French Revolution, came from the French communes, and he brought utopic socialism, which was the trend in Paris at the time. And Ezquivel Zamora blended all of the Bolivarian Republican principles and joined them with the utopia socialist principles. So Zamora is the egalitarian root pillar in his project. We need to update it to the 21st century. Man and land which are free, he said. Meaning that he meant the lands free of landowners, free of exploitation, so that the new generations may understand this, which have not known slavery and will never know that. Those who betrayed Bolivar took the lands from soldiers, from the families of soldiers that returned victorious from the Ayacucho or Junín Pichincha battles, who came victorious after having found Bolivia, who came from the Boyacá and Carabobo battles. They were stripped of their land and their houses, their animals, their cattle, and many were killed by those who betrayed Bolivar. That is a historical truth. That's why Zamora raised the slogan, free land. But he not only referred to land, he said land, free land and man. And today we say free land, men, women, and people free from slavery, colonialism. The second great slogan was popular elections. Today we would say popular elections and direct democracy. And we would say popular election and popular power. As we are building today at a never seen level before, and much remains to be done, because whatever remains to be done is motivates us even more than what we have seen so far. So what we're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. What comes for Venezuela and for the people is power, and a lot of much more popular power. So popular election and popular power would say today. And the third slogan, the oligarchy which ran the country at the time was criminal other than betraying Bolivar. When they came into country towns, they would kill people, kill peasants, assassinating everyone, men, women. The peasants' insurrection in 1846 till 1848 was the first reaction of the people to the abuses of the oligarchy. That's why Zamora, when he took arms, and when he led the 1859 war, he came up with the slogan, horror to the oligarchy. So today we would have to say horror to the oligarchy that betrays the homeland, and horror to the U.S. imperialism. They should feel horror about the power of the Venezuelan people. That would be one of the pillars of the EVR system, and I'm going to publish. All of you should be downloading, printing this book, this blue book. It's very easy to read and to understand, and highly motivating, because an extraordinary human being of supreme intelligence in 1990 wrote this fabulous book of resuscitating our roots to build a homeland in the 21st century, and that huge man was called Hugo Rafael Chavez Frias, our eternal and supreme commander of the Bolivarian Revolution. Long live Hugo Chavez. The ideological system of the EVR of the three pillars. First, Ezquivel, Zamora. B. Bolivar, the liberator. And everything that Bolivar was able to see into the future of 500 years of history of independence and sovereignty. A country with equality and freedom. And the R, Robinson, stands for Robinson, who was the name that he chose, that Simon Rodriguez chose that name as a war name during the colonial empire. Samuel Robinson, that was his war name. So the third pillar is Robinson, the spirit of the maestro, that we would either have to come up with brave ideas or we have become freer as never before in our history. The EBR system. We need to study this book, which is a guide today for the operations being handled at the garrisons by all officers and soldiers. All officers and soldiers have the duty of read and debate and know this book. It's a beautiful book and it's historical because it's our roots and it's our project. And our project is a profound country homeland project. And I congratulate the Peasants movement, which has boosted this popular constituent project, the Popular Constituent Project, which has allowed, and I'm saying this today on September 20th, 2025, reunifying and the resurrection of the great peasants movement of Ezquivel Zamora and Hugo Chavez. Therefore, today, on a sovereign decision by the peasants movement in Venezuela, the Ezquivel Zamora National Union is born to champion economic independence and production in the country. So I congratulate you. And we have come here to witness the birth of this organization and this heroic land. This land that was witnessed the battles of all the armies in this the history of our country. All popular armies and today our army, every branch of our army is securing that Venezuela will never be hurt in the slightest way by the U.S. imperialism. The sacred soil of our country and the seas of our country we must guard in a perfect popular military police union. We were talking about 3 tasks. I'd like to now yield the floor to one of the spokeswomen of this movement from Aragua State, Marina, Carabobo, Caracas, Guárico, La Guaira, Lara, Miranda, Portuguesa, and Yaracuy. We've been to those places. I don't know if we have footage of the time when we arrived at those places. It was a beautiful walk. There I had Celia on one hand and Maria on the other hand in Guárico. We were walking and sharing joys, dreams, hopes, a revolution in the making, a republic constantly remaking itself. I'd like to read what Valle de la Pascua from Guárico, where you would learn to love. Thank you for this beautiful encounter, because if you are If God is with us, who against us? We want to congratulate you, Mr. President, because all of these peasants from the inner country representing
Well, we listened to statements by President Nicolas Maduro as he was leading the founding Congress of the Rural Workers National Union, Ezquivel Zamora, a new Congress, a new form of organization of farmers of the country as they continue to strengthen the direct democracy, the people's democracy, and the people's power to take action and continue to preserve and protect the sovereignty of the Bolivarian nation, as also a way to also organize and create all the strategies necessary to continue in the path of development and prosperity of the Bolivarian nation. Stay tuned with teleSUR English for more.